Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Contact Lost, our mini series, Round Zero pairings. And this time round, we've got Canada represented by Chris
Hey.
and Mexico, first timers represented by Sebastian.
Pleasure, everyone.
Thank you guys for coming in. And before we jump into the discussion at hand, a massive thank you to our patrons and our amazing sponsors at the Army Painter and Weyland-Yutani. Please make sure to check out the links in the video description below. So, Chris, last year I think your finish wasn't exactly what you guys wanted, and it seems that it cost you a spot in the first seed.
I would say I agree with that assessment. Obviously, we wanted to do better. We did lose a seed one seat by a couple of points, like it was down to the razor edge. But
Mm.
yeah, I would say like overall, our results were like we can't complain too much. Like we did okay. We tied a lot of teams that historically beat us. To be honest, like our one real only loss was to Germany. Which is a team that generally felt out of reach, and it was a tight round. Like we could have pulled it to a tie, not a win, but we could have pulled it to that tie. So
Mm.
we didn't feel weak or unprepared. But I think considering it was a new addition, yeah, I'd say yeah we're still pretty happy, right? Like we're playing 40K and we're performing, and we had a lot of ties and a couple wins. So
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and you did get 4 draws, which is actually, I don't think anyone else had that many.
yeah, I guess the one thing is, and like I'm not dissing anybody because we're good friends with the Norwegians. That was the first. That was one of the draws that we were like, we thought we could have pulled it into a win. And actually, last round the draw with Italy was very close in our favor.
Mm.
And our draws were for the most part they weren't like tight or anything. Like we were like, it wasn't like, oh, we were just scraping a draw. We were actually doing quite well for points. So
Yeah, 100%. And so, do you have like any takeaways from last year's event, and anything you thought went wrong, or anything you wanted to improve on?
yeah, so as a team, like there's like organizational changes that we took away from last year. There's also like gaming changes. And so, a lot of the lists that were maybe less tested had less reps into them because maybe we switched to them last minute, or there were factions that were relatively new to people on our team. They seemed to suffer a lot last year. Like our, we had like the Chaos Space Marines suffered a lot in a lot of our pairings and our matchups. We also made the mistake, as a lot of other teams did, and we took Death Watch, and they
Mm.
suffered like unbelievable. But here, the Death Watch were actually doing quite well. So that was a real takeaway for us. Is like we just missed a couple lists there.
Okay. Understood. Sebastian, how did Team Mexico came to be? Because we can't talk about last year's event in terms of you
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
but maybe you can
May
tell us, where did you get the idea from to start the national team and to attend this year?
yes, for sure. Well, in Mexico, the tournament scenes and the competitive Warhammer 40K, I think, have started like 3 years ago. So it's almost new for everyone, no? But
Mhm.
I have like the idea because I know one of the organizers from the WTC, Fernando.
Mhm.
He's like the designer. He's really good friend of Tom, and he
Mhm.
was telling me that, hey, you must go because it's such a really big event for the competitive scene, and Mexico should participate. And but we were like planning 1 year ago because they said, okay, well, we'll try to go this year, but we need to plan ahead and everything, no? So we start making more tournaments to have like some data about the players and who will be uh, also available to go, because it's like also that part is complicated, not
Mhm.
bringing sometimes the players you want to bring and the ones that can afford the trip to Europe, it's a bit tricky. So it's the first time, and we're trying to participate. And the main reason is to motivate all the country to know that it's possible to go and participate as a team, and just to put the name of the Mexico in Warhammer, because for some of you, I think it's like brand new, no? So we're really happy on that. We're really excited, and we're ready to learn a lot of stuff. Maybe we will have really tough games, but that's the way you learn. So we're really enthusiastic about it.
Excellent. Yeah, that's definitely something new to see Mexico on the roster. And so what's the tournament scene like in Mexico? How many players more or less, and do you have lots of events? How big events? Any team events?
Yeah, it have been growing a lot. Team events, we have like one in the whole country. Also, the complicated thing about Mexico is the geography, because it's not as big as Canada, no?
I was gonna say, you're gonna say your country's
yeah.
huge, yeah.
No, yeah, but Canada is much more bigger. But for example, we have small communities spread all over the country, and you need, for making, I don't know, maybe a 50 or more people event, you need like to have different communities come together. So normally the average tournament is like 30 per people, which are from almost the close areas or the same area of the country. We have maybe like 10 of those at the year, but in different parts of Mexico. So sometimes it's complicated because you need to be traveling a lot. And maybe we have a couple of tournaments like less than 100, but more than 50%. So, but I think we're going in a good track, because a couple of years ago there was only like 230 people events in the whole country. So we're starting to increase that numbers, and maybe we have around 500 players, but really spread all over the country. So it's really complicated to like gather everyone in the same tournament to have a 100 or more people event. We'll reach there, but it's coming together every year.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to hear that it's growing, and hopefully it'll get to the place that you just said. So, Chris, what was the team selection process this year? Did it change from last year, or was it pretty much the same?
Oh no, it's changed every year. But before we get to that, I just wanted to say, like, I'm actually super stoked that Mexico's going, because it's nice to have the 3 North American countries there.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
there's
great.
only 3 of us in this whole continent, and it's nice to see us all there. And I was just thinking right now, man, I'd love to go down into a Mexican event one time. That'd be amazing.
Yeah,
Get out of the winter, like in February or something, when we're buried in snow. Come see the beautiful.
Yeah, get some sun in. Yeah, that does sound
Sounds
tempting.
amazing. But yeah, for selection this year, there's a couple things that we started. Well, we've been improving every year, but we continued on our last year as we have the Discord, and so we have essentially you donate a fee every month. I think it's like $5, and it gets you into our Team Canada Discord, and then there's an upper level that gets you into the team selection. And so we had in the mid 30s of people that applied to play on the team, like serious applicants, and then we have a lot more than that in the Discord supporting. And so we did kind of 2 things. We started in about October. We started doing internal scrims and assigned games for those that are really serious. And we also did scrims for people that wanted to learn the WTC system and get team events on TTS. So we ran a lot of those early on in the year. We added in that you have to be top 50 ELO to apply to be on the team for Canada. But we also gave some exceptions to kind of, if you could justify it. We took people's ELO, we took their event results in Canada, we took all their internal events and things that they did within the Canada Discord. We also interviewed everybody. So all 30 something people, we sat down and gave a 30 to 40 minute interview where we asked a lot of serious questions and kind of figured that out. And then so once all that kind of came to, we made the decision around, I think it was January, that we cut down to 16 people. Plus coaches. So we have many coaches this year. But the 16 is what we call Team Canada. So even though we then eventually cut down to 8 traveling players, the actual 16 is the full team. So we can run internal scrims, we can train with each other. We've had a drop. I don't know if you guys heard Scary dropped from our team last minute.
Oh
And
no.
so, yeah, I know it's a huge blow, and it's like losing one of your best players is pretty brutal. But
Oh,
I'm sure he has a
what a
good reason.
shame.
Yeah, it's he's a bastion of the community, and people love him. So we were pretty disappointed, and like Dark Eldar seem okay this year, so maybe he could have done that. Who knows? But yeah, so it was like, because we had the 16, somebody else stepped in. They were already preparing. They're already in the team comp. They already had the system in place, and so that's like the high level summary of how we got to we are this year. One of the big things that I wanted to say that we did this year that's a lot different is we incorporated the team into a not-for-profit company, which allows us to take donations and give people tax receipts. And we've also created like charters. We still have more charters to finish because for the professionalism, but from the business side, we have a lot more charters that we have to finish, and just kind of adding legitimacy, transparency, and kind of openness to the team, and allow it to feel like if you want on, you can apply and put in the work and get on there and get a fair shake at it. And every person that was selected to be on our team, we have data to back up why they were selected, and interview things. So it's not like just willy-nilly.
No, this is very interesting to hear, because last year when I attended the event, I was taken aback by how professionally some of the teams approach this, and now hearing you guys taking like this another step higher is exactly what I would expect happening, and it's really like a step into professionalism of 40K team play, which is exciting. But you've mentioned 16 players and coaches after running it down in January. Okay, and so what happens with the people that are not part of the final eight? Can they like become part of the coaching staff, and then they attend as well, or
So some did, and
what's
I
the
can give you an
plan?
example. Like Scary dropped from the playing squad. He's still in the top 16, helping us practice, helping us design lists, helping us pair. But yeah, basically that's how it was. That we do have some coaches that weren't interested in playing, but they're like we have some prolific coaches in Canada. But yeah, so several of them are coming to play, and not all of them are coming, but several are coming to play in the War Masters. They're also signed up as coaches and support staff. If I happen to get food poisoning or someone else, they'll step in for us as well, which is really helpful to have that security blanket. One of the things that we did last year that was really nice is like the support staff and the coaches helped set up the tables to speed up the rounds. So our team would go and all the coaching staff would set up all the tables so that we could focus on pairing and playing. And then when you went to your table, it was already set up. So they do a lot of that stuff, help us with our pairings, all that good stuff. They're at all the meetings. We do weekly meetings, and then we do TTS games regularly. So like multiple a week usually.
Okay, sounds like you're coming back for that seed one spot.
We would
this
love
year.
to get the seed one spot again, and prove that we can continue to. I would say like we continue to hang with the big teams. They tend to have our number, but we definitely want to come back really strong, and we don't want to leave with any regrets. Like if let's say you show up and you get 15th place or whatever, which is worse than we've showed. I'm not knocking anybody, but it's like, let's say we take a step down. As long as we know that we put in the work, we did everything we could, and everybody gave their best, I think that's all that matters, right, in the end.
Yeah, sure. Right. So, Sebastian, how did the Team Mexico go about the selection? Was there any the process established, or was it, like you said, more a matter of who's able to actually go?
Yeah, well, between both of them, because we don't have like big data of a lot of tournaments. We kind of take all the result of the last 2 years of tournaments, which is like 6 tournaments or 7 tournaments, and all the top fives. We make like all the lists, and after that is okay. You're selected. Like we selected like 14 people, and okay, now it's who can afford to do this. So we managed to build a team, and actually we have not as many coaches and everything, but we're bringing like 8 players. Well, of course, one of our team members is a mercenary. It's Noah from the USA, really good orc and Chaos Knights player, because we were struggling to find the 8th member. and we're bringing also two really enthusiastic coaches. But it was like, okay, I want to go and feel the experience, but yeah, it's more kind of. I think we're bringing some of the best players of the country, but I think this is just the first step. We need to like just jump out and start building from here.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, put the name on the map, right? As well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, we were already planning the ELO selection for next year, for making more like formal selection and everything. But yeah, sometimes I think the first year you just need to grab your bags and do your best. So
7's impressive, man. By the way, like it's 7 people from like that's impressive. We didn't even have 7 the first couple of years. Like we went with like multiple mercs certain years. Like this is like 10 years ago, maybe, or 7 years. But yeah,
okay, that's right.
Yeah, so it's definitely understandable. It's amazing.
Yeah, but in that case, you're showing an example that it can grow, right? And then you can get 16 people in the team, or even more people interested. And but it's actually very good to hear that you've managed to bring some coaches, because I think that well, before COVID, when it was still the ETC, there weren't that many coaches, but now it's really a role that is much more emphasized within teams and much more valued. So there's a lot more attention brought to it, and teams are bringing lots and lots of additional non-playing staff. It was really interesting when I saw like the French guys cutting baguettes for the team members who were playing, just to make sure they're all ready to go. Right. So, Sebastian, you've already mentioned a bit about events, but you also said there was like one team event that you've had. So, did you manage to like get the Team Mexico under one banner, so to speak, in that event, and well, have a team's playing experience?
Yeah, well, that was like the first teams tournament in Mexico, and was one of the main events considered for the best players for this team actually. So it was more like the club teams, and was not as big as this one. Was 4 people teams, but we made all the same rules and everything of the last year's WTC. So that was like our first approach to team tournaments, and we really enjoy it, and all the community really like it, and that's why we started to plan for participating in the Belgium one. Okay. But yeah, we're really starting just with the teams, and we're already having some practicing with other teams, but it's really interesting how the game changes in a singles and a teams events, and we're really enjoying it. So all the process of thinking different, as a team.
Yeah, it's a whole new layer to the game, and it is very interesting.
Yeah, also all of the members, as I told you, we are not like one big community in one city. They are from different cities and groups, and so it have been a bit difficult to like change the mindset of, okay, you're not only part of your group in that city, you are now part of the Mexican team, and we need to work as a team. So we're trying to break through that thing, but I think after this year we'll help a lot all the communities to like have a common purpose,
Yeah, I'm sure of it. And is going to the US for events a thing, or is it also a bit complicated, maybe too expensive or whatnot?
No, actually, it's, well, if you get your traveling visa, it's really easy. It's the same thing. For example, I live in the south part of Mexico, near Cancun, in Merida. And it's the same for me to take a flight to Mexico City than to, I don't know, Dallas. For example, I was in the Dallas Open in May, so it's not that complicated. So I think that's the best way for us to like upper our level, no, trying to go to tournaments outside Mexico, and of course the US have really big tournaments. So yeah, we try to go at least once or twice if it's possible to tournaments in the US, or well, sometimes in Europe also. A couple of years ago, I went to with a small group of Mexicans to LGT.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we have no other option than traveling to have tournaments. So it's nice also to
Yeah, no, definitely. That's great to hear. That
yeah, to have an excuse to travel somewhere and also play a tournament. So.
Perfect. Right. What about Team Canada? I think you've had some even 8v8 man events. Did you play like any of those under the Team
Yeah.
Canada banner?
So we don't generally. So there's a lot. So we're a part of that North America. There's like a North American eight player team, like league and ranking system. I think there's like 14, 15 events, and 5 or 6 of them are in Canada.
Hmm.
We generally don't go as Team Canada to those events because, there's people established, right? You got guys that play on Team Quebec. You got people that play on their own teams. And it's
Hmm.
not necessarily that good for the community for us to just like take everybody and put them on one team. So I have my
Okay.
own team, which is called Blunt Force Trauma, and so we play in all those events as that. Now it does contain right now. We just played a team event last weekend, and it had 5 of the members of Team Canada on it. One of them had never played for us before. He actually hadn't played in too many team events before. It was his second, and then just other people kind of rotate through. But yeah, it's we have a lot of them, and it's getting bigger and bigger. Like I know that I run it one of the 8-man team events, so I don't get to play in it, which sucks. And we sold out on 24 8-man, like 8-player teams in like something like 5 seconds. Like it sold out instantly. So
Wow.
that's how
Wow.
there's an appetite here for team play, and
Clearly.
it's like those are our biggest events right now. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's pretty interesting to hear. And what about any other forms of preparation? So like TTS screams against other nations. I don't know, any boot camps, anything of that sort.
Oh yeah, we do boot camps with like various different countries. USA, Sweden, Norway. We played against scrims against Ireland, New Zealand, and a few others that I probably am missing in here. But we try to play quite regularly, and we actually have a mandatory practice day in July
Hmm.
just after list lock, where everybody from Team Canada is flying into our store in Ottawa, Red Dragon, to play
Hmm.
like a boot camp weekend. And we do work with a couple other teams on like boot camps and making things list work and stuff. And like I actually had a couple games today against another country. I won't say who, but 2 different countries, and just practice games and prepping lists. So we're doing a lot of preparation. So we're hoping
Hmm.
it pays off. But
Yeah, you mentioned the Scandinavians, but do you actually fly there, or it's
no,
more
TTS. So
TTS
we
boot camp thing?
like I have a similar problem as Mexico as Canadians, right? Like we do
Hmm.
a lot of TTS. Like we have a player that lives in Canada, probably almost as far as like the Mexican border is. Like, you know what I mean? But it's the other way.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a 3-hour time difference.
Yep.
There's a guy that when he flies to our practice days, he's flying as far as I would fly to like Paris. So yes,
Hmm.
it's one of the downsides. We do have a player from the West Coast and a player from the East Coast, and it's just the nature of the game. And a lot of our players, like even the players that live in the same province, are still 5-6 hour drives apart, right? So 600-700 kilometers. So we have to definitely, like, we just TTS. I probably play more
Hmm.
TTS than real 40K these days, if I'm being honest.
Well, so do I, although probably for different reasons. Never mind that though, but it's mind blowing when you mention those comparisons and the distances. Anyway, Sebastian, is TTS a thing in Mexico then?
Yes. Well, after the COVID pandemic,
Hmm.
that was the only way to play, and we like kind of drop it, but with the team thing, and to be able to practice at least once a week or something.
Hmm.
That's the only way also for us. Uh, good part is that some members are like from same city, so they can practice between them. But to practice the whole team, yeah, and also we always like to try to practice with other people from other countries to have like different styles. It's amazing how the game style and the meta changes from every region. So
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, we're starting to. I'm really bad at TTS. I don't know why I changed my. I was really used to playing the table, and I'm starting now to play on TTS because this is a really good option to practice with anyone in the world. So,
Yeah, and it's nice
yeah,
if you have a family too, right? Like you don't have to leave your house. You can play at night when your kids are in bed, and you don't have to
yeah,
like a babysit. Like it just makes so much sense, right? Especially if you're practicing.
yeah, and also
That's
you can
that's the
try
reason I was
any list you
referring to.
want.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, no model issues, nothing.
without
Yeah.
spending
Yeah,
the
yeah.
in models. So
Test more freely before you make uh, any purchases.
yeah,
And
exactly.
do you do like a sort of training days boot camps, like Chris mentioned, that you fly in, or that's a bit too much hassle at this point?
Well, we actually have a small tournament a couple of weeks ago, which 7 of the 8 team members were together. So we were like practicing and everything. So yeah, that was like our only maybe boot camp before the tournament. But after that, like we are practicing on TTS at least. We're trying to do once a week game or two at least with the team members, and we are trying to have a practice game with Spain as a team against. Also, will be amazing to have a practice with you guys, the North American community. If you have chance, but yeah, we're trying to figure it out more practice games as possible.
Okay, excellent. Right, Chris. So when did the team become final? So the 16-man team became an 8-man team, and if you could shortly introduce the players picked for the final team.
Yeah, I totally can. So we kind of selected near the end of March. We have this thing called like March break here, which everybody's on vacation. We did it generally just after that time frame, and from there we were able to get down the top 8 and our coaches. Now I don't want to miss anybody. So I guess I'm actually playing captain this year. I was lucky enough to perform. We have Francois Lalonde, who's coming back. He was there last year. We have Riley. He's coming back as well from last year. We have a first-time player at the WTC, Zach Como, who's it's going to be his first year there, so he's pretty excited. We have John Winter Russell, who was one of our coaches last year, but this is his first year playing, will be this year. We have Jonathan Betteridge, who's from I should say John Winter Russell's from Quebec. He's one of our Quebec players, so en français. And then we have Jonathan Betteridge from New Brunswick, which is the East Coast, or maybe it's Nova Scotia, but he's anyway one of the eastern provinces. He's going to kill me now. And then Tim Dietliff is returning as well. He was there last year, and Jeremy's returning last year. He was our head coach last year, and now is playing this year. Our head coach is Dicky, and then we have kind of like an assistant coach team with him. We have Jack or Dan. He owns the Red Dragon. We have Kaz, who's coming. We have Edward, who's coming. And I think that's it for the ones that are coming this year. And I'll give a shout out to Max Dubois, who's our media guy. So.
All right, perfect. Thank you. And Sebastian, can you give us the same for Team Mexico?
Yeah. Let me check the list just to be really sure. So we have, well, 3 of the members. Well, one is me, my brother, and another guy called Javier Palomo. We are from the south part of Mexico. Then from the center of Mexico, we have Luis Munoz, which is from Mexico City. Also another guy Alberto. I don't know the last name, but yeah, Alberto, which are from Mexico City, and we have some of north part of Mexico, which is Julio Villarreal from Guanajuato, is north from Mexico City, and also from Baja California. We have Abraham and a couple of coaches from Aguascalientes and Mexico City. So really all over the country participants, and also Noah from US.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great stuff. No, I mean it's amazing that you guys managed to pull together a squad, but it's great stuff. Looking forward to having you over there. So speaking of the event this year, so what is the expectation or any targets you might have for the team, Sebastian?
Well, I was learning about the tiers of the teams, no? Because it's like really difficult to think like, okay, it's our first year, we don't have any experience, and we are trying to win first place. No, it's crazy to think. We should have that mentality, but also like be humble and realistic. So we're as our first year, we start at tier 4, I think. No, it's like the first year teams. So
Yep.
would be great, and I think that's the main goal of the team, to just climb a tier. For us, that would be a great win. Of course, we will do our best and try to do the best role we can, but
Mhm.
like a solid yeah, like the main goal is just to reach tier 3. That will be amazing for us to leave the next team for the next year some more complicated games.
Perfect. Yes, it's good to have goals and something you can reach out to. Hopefully you manage that. What about Canada, Chris?
Yeah, realistically, we want to be on the podium at least once this year. That's what we strive for. That's what we would like to get to. That's what our processes are supposed to be leading us towards. Hopefully, one day is hitting that podium seat. At the
Mhm.
very least, though, we would like to regain our tier 1 status. I think that's being able to be in a group going into setting up the team for next year to not have to play against a tier 1 team in the opening round. I think really can help you climb the ladder a little bit earlier, right? So we really want
Totally.
that back, and as well as like podium. Yeah, I don't know. I would love a podium now. This is going to be like my 7th or 8th time, so trying for that. But
Do you also want to get best sport back?
well, it would be nice. But I think like there's so many teams now. There's so many new teams, and like it would be amazing. And we like to think that we're good sports, and people seem to enjoy that. But if it happens, it happens. It's not something like you can strive for, I guess, unless you can just try to be the nicest person you can be, and if it happens, it happens, right? But there's a lot of really great teams there with a lot of really great people on them. So
All right. And what do you think of the game in the current state and the fact that, again, before the WTC, there's like so many changes? I mean, last year we had the new edition drop, really close to list lock and all that. I think list lock was even moved further into towards the end of July because of that. But now we've had so many changes that it's almost like an edition 10.5. So what's your take on that?
it's amazing. I'm very happy they're fixing the game. They're working on the game. This is a very enjoyable addition, in my opinion. I've loved it from the beginning. There was a couple problem children at the beginning, like Eldar, but they've been corrected, and I think like look at like I've been playing orcs the last little while, last month or so, and they just got hit into the ground, and maybe some of it was overreacted, but some of it's rightfully so. I think just looking at how big the events are, how quick they're selling out, how many more teams are at the WTC this year, um, I think it's in a good place. And I think, some armies, yeah, they get hit too hard and they're weaker, yes, and some armies are stronger now and they'll be hit again in 4 months, right? And I think that's nice because back in the olden days, you used to play a codex for like a year, 2 years, 6 months, like longer, and it would be like busted, and it would be like that codex just it's too powerful, right? And
Or it
yeah,
would be
I think
bad
it's
and
great.
you'd have to play it through 3 editions.
Yeah, and they've tried to fix certain books by giving them points boosts and stuff, and it's hard for points to fix rules sometimes, but
Mhm.
yeah, all in all, I think Games Workshop's doing the right thing. They're moving in the right direction, and the fact that they sell out of all their product instantly when it hits the shelves for the most part, I think tells you all you need to know about the state of the game, right? And in Canada particularly, it's amazing, right? We, like literally this year at Can Hammer Teams, which is the event that I own and run, we were scared to go from 5 uh, player teams to 8 because we were scared we would not get the attendance or we would struggle, right? And the
Mhm.
fact that we expanded the event, went to 8, and sold out was like just crazy. Like I'm still in awe actually that like it was crazy. Like 24 or 8-man teams is a lot for our population and how spread out we are, right? So
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
that's
lot of
true.
people. You have to do the math. It might not come straight away, but that's like
160
over
something, 164, I think it
160,
was.
yeah,
Yeah,
some 8,
plus coaches.
something like that. Oh yeah, even if you add coaches.
And that's the other
Then
interesting thing here is the team events are so popular that 8-player teams like that are just like these are people that don't play for Team Canada, maybe some apply, some don't. They're bringing coaches. Like there was at least 7 or 8 coaches at the event last weekend that I was just at. It was 28-man teams, and like that's a big deal to shift. Like people are willing to coach private teams essentially, right?
Mhm.
Like that's a big deal. Yeah.
That is, and I have to say I'm in awe, given that like Poland is a place where we put a lot of focus on teams. We almost have only team events nowadays, but no one's tried to do an 8v8, and yeah, that's very interesting to hear. I mean, obviously the community is not as big, but maybe a bit more condensed, so traveling isn't that much of an issue, for example. But yeah, very interesting to hear.
Well, it all goes. I should give a shout out then because there's a guy. It's the NTL, which is the North American like 8-man team league. Maybe Mexico could get events in it, right? Because it's North American.
Yeah.
But this guy Brad is one of the founders of that, and I think the 8-player team rankings with it has a qualifier in July, not this year because it's the first year, but next year there's a qualifier that teams that win events qualify for. I think that's really pushed North America towards that 8 number because we were
Hmm.
historically 5, and I think a lot of credit can go to that at the NTL for that one.
Great stuff. Fascinating to hear about. Sebastian, what's your take on the recent changes? Were they, I don't know what's the word. Uh, did they give you some difficulties for the team, maybe, or it's not that much of an issue?
Yeah, I think all of them are good changes. Of course, it's a meta shift completely. We're playing almost another edition, but I'm really excited because, of course, we have like uh, a lot of talkings last few days after the Pariah Nexus drop and all the balanced data slates and everything to figure it out again. Everything to okay because it's not that easy for us. Like okay, the org guy is not playing maybe now, so we need to find out. We have the same persons and we need to like find a way to come around the changes. But we are really excited also because I think all of them are good changes. I really like they bring back the importance of the battle line. I think that's big for the lift building. And but yeah, it was like I would love to have these changes. Maybe one more month earlier would be a great. But still, we have enough time to try to plan ahead for preparing all these because also you need to like building the models and preparing your list and painting everything. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's
exactly.
also
You need the
Maybe
time
2
to do
months.
that, and yeah, to prep, test, and figure out something that's worth taking in the team. Mhm. Okay, now we sometimes, and this mini series, also have Nathan from StatCheck on. He's not here today, obviously, but he has started a theme for these. Last year we had bird combat. it was a good joke at first, and then people got kind of sick of it. This year, we're talking about national foods. So I'm told that the national dish of Canada is poutine. I don't know if I'm
Maybe.
pronouncing it right.
Yeah,
Okay.
poutine,
Is it
whatever. It depends
something?
what part you're from. Yeah.
Okay. So what is it in your part, and what does it consist of?
Oh, so it's basically French fries, usually fried in the dirtiest oil possible. Is the better, or double fried, and then cheese curds, which is the squeaky cheese at room temperature, and then gravy, right? So it's a combination of like savory, gooey, yeah, and that's what we're known for, I guess. Yeah, that
That
and maple
sounds
syrup, right? I guess I
that
don't know.
that sounds super heavy. Yeah, I wish you'd have gone with maple syrup. Maybe that would have been a better choice. And for Mexico, he's told me mole poblano is I'm probably pronouncing that super wrong.
Yeah, mole poblano.
Oh, there we
Well,
go.
that in Mexico, the food is a big thing. So we could have like 1,000 list of dishes. No, I think the most iconic dish is tacos. But also
Mhm.
there's 1,000 ways to prepare your tacos. It also depends on the area of the country. But yeah, mole poblano is like one of the more gastronomic famous dishes, no? But normally in Mexico, the good food is like street food.
Mhm.
So it's like really different the ways that you can find really good food. Actually, I'm pretty sure that Mexico, I don't know in Warhammer, but in food sense, we are one of the best foods in the world. I'm pretty sure because it's so complex and have a lot of flavors. But yeah, if I have to say like the main food, it's tacos because also uh, I don't know, that's like the fuel of the country, I think.
Okay.
Not
And
Taco Bell though, right? Not Taco.
No, that's a different story. Yeah.
I
Sorry.
was gonna ask the same thing.
No.
And what did you think of Chris's proposition of fries with gravy?
And
I
Where
have
chicken.
would
tried
that
it.
where would that rank in terms of best dishes for you?
It would be a really nice snack, maybe. And if you are in the, I don't know, minus 17 degrees or something, I can imagine why it works over there. But yeah.
Well, you got to imagine it's minus 40 out in the middle of
Okay.
February, walking home from the bar, and there's like a little shop making this, and they can put meat on it and stuff. That's the ideal eating conditions, right?
Yeah,
Then you
okay, I
wake
can.
up with lots of shame the next day. Yes.
But at least you're not dying of hypothermia, right? So you've got that going for you.
Sounds great for hangover for me. So
Or for a night out drinking. All right. Last but not least, guys, do you want to plug in anything? Maybe you've got Facebook pages, Instagrams, or whatnot to follow around the national teams. Then now is the time for some advertisements.
oh yeah, let me search the name.
I guess I can go first if he wants to search, and then
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
come back.
Go
Sure.
ahead.
So just basically, yeah, we have the Canadian national team. We have an organization. We have a Facebook page, Canadian Worlds Team, and we have a Patreon as well as a Discord. If you're within the Canadian community, you want to join that, feel free. We have lots of sponsors this year. All the different stores are on there. It's a long list, so check them out. They'll be on our shirts this year. So I'll give out if you check out our Facebook page, we have plugs to all of them as well if you want to support them. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys this year. It's gonna be great.
Definitely. And Sebastian for Team Mexico.
Yeah, we have our Facebook page, Team Mexico WTC, and we're starting to upload and build the community of the teams.
Right, great stuff. So, guys, if you wanna find out more about Canada and Mexico, make sure you follow their social media. We'll be wrapping up for today. So thanks again, Chris and Sebastian, for joining in. And thanks to our patrons and the sponsors, the Army Painter and Weyland-Yutani. And if you like what we do, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment on the materials that we prepare. This was the third installment of Round Zero Pairings, where we've had Canada and Mexico. Thanks very much, guys, for joining in, and bye-bye.